All right, look, I just connected Claude directly to my Power BI model. I'm not talking about copy pasting DAX in between chat windows. I'm talking about a real connection between Claude and my Power BI model. This way Claude can see my tables, my measures, my entire data model, and it can help me build. I work as a senior data analyst and Power BI developer for a Fortune 300 company, and this has got to be one of the coolest things I've seen happen to Power BI in a while. So in this video, I'll show you what it can do. I'll show you my exact setup, how you can set it up too, and the mistakes that people often run to during that process. And at the end, I'll talk about the topic that will definitely be on your mind after we go through this, and that is, will this replace data analysts? Because this is a really powerful workflow, but it's also a little scary. So we'll talk about that. And then finally, I'll close out with my honest answer concerning using this kind of tool or workflow with company data. So I'll admit, I'm a little late to the game in creating a video on this topic. This is an update that's been out for a little while now, but I've been using it extensively and am super excited to talk about it. So let's dive in. Okay, so before we dive into the actual setup, I want to show you what it can do, because this is very powerful. So we have Claude Desktop opened up on one side of the screen, and we have a fresh Power BI report with just a few CSV tables loaded in to keep things easy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to ask Claude to connect directly to the Power BI report. So check this out. Connect to the open PBIX file titled Power BI plus Claude demo. So we're just asking it to connect directly to the open PBIX file. And when you're doing this, especially for the first time, you might get asked multiple times for permission to allow Claude to do certain things. You could either allow once, or you can allow always, or for the entire session. So that was pretty quick, and we can see that it has connected to the open PBIX file. First thing I'm gonna have it do is tell me a little bit about the data. And we can see that that's even one of the suggestions that it gives us. So I'm just gonna tell it to inspect the data model and all connected tables. Again, pretty quick, and it's done. It gives us an overview, gives me a breakdown of the tables and each of their columns, even breaks down the relationships. And this is a pretty simple data model, so there's not a ton to cover, but you can see that very clearly it is connected to the data model because it can tell me about it directly without me giving it any context. It just knows from inspecting the file. Pretty crazy. Now I'm gonna ask it to advise on some DAX measures that it can create. So I'm just gonna ask it, please advise on some DAX measures we can build for this report. See what it comes back with. And I mean, literally within seconds, it just shot out all of these DAX measure suggestions that we can build. And it does give some caveats stating true profit margin is impossible yet, and that time intelligence is running on the hidden auto date table. I'm not gonna worry about that right now, but I want you to watch this because this is where it gets really insane. Please build every suggested DAX measure suggested except for those mentioned in your caveats. Place all of these within a measures table. I want you to see what it does next here. Okay, boom, that probably took like literally a minute, and you can see here now that we have a dedicated measures table with folders that contain every DAX measure it suggested, except for those mentioned in the caveats, which were the time intelligence function and the profit ratio. So what's this? This is like 15 measures that I made in literally 1 minute. That's crazy. I'll say, if you're doing real development work here, probably want to take it a little bit slower than that. And I would suggest building one DAX measure at a time, making sure it's accurate, it's the right thing, doing some quality checks along the way. But for the sake of demonstration, I just wanted to show you how fast you can move with this. You can, in practice, build dozens of DAX measures in a matter of minutes. So even if you're taking these one at a time, you are still moving so much faster than you would without it. And the fact that it even organized these for us, built the measures table, is so incredible. And so if we just kind of thumb through these in the formula bar, you can see that they look pretty legit. And in my experience, especially with these simple measures, I mean, this is a really simple data model. So I'm pretty sure that this is all kosher. A couple more things I want to show you. I want to show you how you can bulk add descriptions into all of your measures and columns. So here I am in the data model view. One of the most tedious things to do when it comes to Power BI reports and Power BI development is adding like properties into each of your measures or columns. Not something you always need to do, but sometimes it is necessary, especially if you're completely handing off a report file to someone. And we can do this pretty quickly with Claude, as you might have guessed. So we can see that in the DAX measures that it created for us, it already filled these out, which is pretty cool. But the base columns that we started with don't yet have that. Well, guess what? Claude can build those out for us. Please fill out all properties fields for columns in our customers, products, and sales tables. Okay, and after a couple minutes, we are done. You can see it took the liberty of organizing each of the columns into folders, which is pretty cool. You may or may not want that, but the fact that it can organize so simply is pretty cool. So if we look at each of our columns, we see that this metadata is now filled out properly. Boom, something that would probably take you a little while to do on your own and be pretty tedious, we can now do, and again, a couple of minutes with Claude. It just went through all my columns and did that. So crazy, right? Like this stuff is so powerful. I'll show you one more thing here, and that is creating documentation. And I'm literally just gonna say, create detailed documentation for this Power BI report. It's asking what format we want that in. We'll do it in a Word document, because chances are if you're doing this at work, you'll want that in like a clean Word file. How deep should the documentation go? Let's say a comprehensive technical spec, just to see how detailed it can get. And then while you're waiting for Claude to work, you could just scroll social media on your phone. Okay, and a few minutes later, we have a 9-page report on our complete Power BI report here. Breaks down the tables, the measures, the relationships, the data profile, modeling notes and recommendations, and it is incredibly well formatted, looks really good. There's some awkward stuff here, like a blank contents page. So it's not perfect, but I mean, again, I think it took 3 minutes, and we got a detailed 9-page document that probably would have taken you hours to do on your own, if not longer, because this is very detailed. So even if you're not just shipping this as is, which you probably shouldn't, you should definitely read through it. But even if you have to make some edits, just the speed at which we got started is truly phenomenal. So those are just a few of some of the most powerful things that you can do with this setup. And I've done this with much larger data models, and it really is crazy the amount of insight that it can get into your reports and how much smarter you can go about the problem-solving process with an AI partner that has so much more context of your Power BI model. Because before this existed, you're kind of just like telling it about your data model and just kind of slowly through this chat window, you know, or whatever context you gave it through documents or whatever, you were kind of slowly building that knowledge. Now, so much more of that gap is crossed because it's literally plugged into your report. I do want to note that this setup can't create visuals for you, but the DAX work alone is so helpful. Okay, now for the fun part, which is the setup. And it's not really that fun because it's not super straightforward, but it's also not so bad. We're gonna keep it pretty simple. Let's go. And just a quick note, this is a Windows only setup, right? We are using Power BI after all. And I actually have a Mac, but I'm running a Windows engine on my Mac. And if you'd like to learn to do the same thing, but don't know how to use Power BI on a Mac, check out this video right here I made on how to do that a while back. I'm gonna try to keep this as simple as possible and not spend too much time here. First thing you wanna do is download Visual Studio Code. Okay, once you get that downloaded and you have Visual Studio Code set up, you're gonna go to the extensions right here and look for the Power BI Modeling MCP server. So you're gonna download that. Then, of course, we need to have Claude. So you're gonna download Claude Desktop. And those are the 3 core applications that we need for this. Okay, next, we're gonna open up a folder. In that folder, you're going to paste this pathway into the search bar, user profile / vscode / extensions. Hit enter on that, and that'll take you here. Okay, then you're gonna locate the folder that says Power BI Modeling MCP. I have 2, but you should only have 1. You click on that, you navigate to the folder that says server, and then you locate the Power BI Modeling MCP file right here. You're gonna right click and copy as path. Then we're gonna go to Claude Desktop. In Claude Desktop, we're going to go to the settings. From there, we're going to go to the developer tab, and this is where the local MCP servers are located. You'll see that I already have the Power BI Modeling MCP server set up here. If you haven't done this yet and you don't have anything else in there, it should be blank, but you're going to click Edit Config. That will pop up a new window, and you'll locate the Claude Desktop config file. That's a JSON file. Right-click that and open this with Notepad++. You could use any notepad though. You won't have all of this, but you're going to paste in this first section. So mine has my dedicated pathway here. In the description of the video, I'm gonna put a template that you can use and fill out with your own information, and I'll show you kind of the original format that it looks like in there. Key thing here is to make each of these backslashes double backslashes when you're filling out your information. From there, you're going to close and restart Claude Desktop, and then when you navigate back to your local MCP servers here in the developer tab, you should see the Power BI Modeling MCP. If you run into any issues, I've found that literally just asking Claude about those issues works pretty well, and it can help you troubleshoot what your issue might be. It could be something with the file path or something else. One thing you might be wondering is if you need a paid Claude plan for this. You don't need paid. I personally use Max, but that's just because I use Claude a lot. But free should be enough here. Just keep in mind that you won't have as much usage on a free plan. Okay, so once you get this set up, you can follow through the steps that I took at the beginning of the video, and you can start having some fun. And while we're on the topic of connecting things to Claude, there's one more connector that I've been using lately. And this part of the video is sponsored by Walter Wrights. So Walter Wrights just launched the first AI humanizer for Claude. It's called the Walter Wrights MCP, and it lets you humanize AI text right inside of Claude. Again, you don't have to do any copy pasting between tools. The setup takes about a minute. You go to your Claude connectors, you name it Walter Wrights AI, paste the Walter MCP server URL. I'll leave that on the screen for a moment so you can pause and copy it. I'll also throw it in the description so that you can copy paste it. Once that's in, you hit connect and you're pretty much done. So if you write reports, summaries, or documentation with Claude, this is the best AI humanizer for Claude available right now. Walter Wrights has 4 modes. It works in over 80 languages, and there's a free trial. Link is in the description, or go ahead and scan it right here on the screen. All right, lastly, let's talk about a question I get anytime I talk about AI tools with company data. And that question is this safe to use at work? And the answer is always, it depends. And you wanna make sure you're asking the right questions to leadership. So here's my rule. I don't connect anything to production data until someone who gets paid to worry about that tells me it's fine. You don't just wanna start using AI tools that are directly connected to company data willy-nilly. If you're in a larger organization, there will be a lot more data governance in place that completely restricts you from using certain tools. But if you're at a smaller company, you definitely want to ask those questions. And honestly, either way, you should be asking those questions. Many companies now are very AI forward, and most AI tools have a lot of data governance in place. So implementing these tools is not a difficult task, especially for a tool like Claude, which a lot of companies are already using. So things you might want to check in with your manager or IT about before connecting anything to real data would be things like, is this tool already approved? Of course. Some companies might even have a list of the tools they do approve of. And if they do, ask for that list. But again, just ask outright, is this tool okay? If Claude is on it, then you're probably fine. Another thing to know is, where does the data actually go? So the MCP server runs locally, but the model context gets sent to Anthropic. Your table names, your column names, your measure logic, know that before you connect. And then who owns this decision? Because it's probably not you. It's IT, security, or data governance, depending on your company. Just send an email, ask if connecting AI to a client or local Power BI model is permitted, and get that in writing. And I'm curious, would your company allow this? Tell me in the comments. I'm genuinely curious which companies out there are restricting tools like this and which ones are okay. My impression has been that more and more are becoming okay with it, but I'm always curious to know what's going on out there with other companies. So again, 3 things to ask before you connect AI at work. Is the tool approved? What data leaves my machine, and who signs off on this decision? So it's powerful and you can use it safely, which leaves the question everyone is really asking, will this replace data analysts? I'll be the first to say that this technology is scary good, but I have been using this exact technology for months now, and I can tell you straight that no, it is not going to replace data analysts anytime soon. I spend days working on giant enterprise reports that are directly connected via the Power BI Modeling MCP, and just because I have AI assistance that plugs into my data model does not mean that reports are just getting made in a snap. It still takes considerable effort. I'm still pounding my head against the wall some days trying to problem solve. And just because you have AI help doesn't mean the work just gets done in an instant. That's just not the reality, especially when you are working with massive data sets that require really complex problem solving. So for me, what it's been looking like so far and where I see it continuing to go, at least in the short term, is that, am I using faster? Absolutely. Is it making the work easier? Yes and no. It certainly helps, but the job is still really hard. And even being very technically proficient and using AI literally all day, every day, which is what I do, it still takes just a high level of cognitive function. So with where this stuff is going, I mean, who knows where we're gonna end up? I don't have a crystal ball. I can't guarantee where things are going. And at the speed at which AI is going, I have no idea, and no one has any idea where we're gonna be a year from now. But with my experience in the field, I can tell you that for now, and I think for a while, data analysts are going to be safe. I think we're seeing less junior roles because the work that juniors used to do can be handled more quickly by those at higher levels. But I say this all the time, the number of data analyst jobs on the market is not decreasing, it's increasing. So what I do think is that the role is going to continue changing, without a doubt. It's already changing. It will continue to do so with AI augmentation, but I don't believe it's going away anytime soon. And something I get in the comments a lot is, is it worth it to get into data analytics now if the job might go away 3 years from now, which no one can tell. But even if it did, if you got in now and you had 3 years of experience, you'll probably be in a spot where you can jump into a more advanced role anyways. But with that said, I think we're good. And when you're using tools like this and getting comfortable with these, this is huge. Companies are looking for people who are able to proficiently augment AI into their work. And if you bring this into the workplace, this is an advantage. Okay, so be proud about it, be bold about it, keep learning about it. So if you're trying to break into data or level up your career into a more senior level, that's the whole reason this channel exists. I was a middle school teacher. I taught myself this stuff. I got the job years ago, and now I do it for a Fortune 300 company. I try to make videos about what's going on today and what we're actually doing in the field. I'm not a tech influencer who is completely removed from this stuff. I do it day in and day out. And tools like this and advancements like this are going to keep coming out every few months. I test them so you don't have to waste a weekend on the ones that aren't worth knowing. So subscribe to keep up to date on technologies like this. So you have 2 options now. You can wait and see if this AI stuff blows over and if we are indeed in a bubble, but that's probably not going to happen. Or you can spend 20 minutes tonight, set this up, and be the person on your team who already knows how it works. And if you're looking to get hired right now, watch my video on the Power BI questions interviewers actually ask. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.